drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Hello and welcome to Filmmakers Focus. I'm Doc Kennedy. This week's special guest is Rich Botto. Rich is founder and CEO of Stage 32. And if you've been working in the filmmaking industry or any type of entertainment, you've probably heard of Stage32.com. Stage 32 is a social network and educational site for creative professionals who work in film, television, and theater. Stage 32 links professionals in the entertainment industry, including directors, writers, actors, and entertainment staff. So if you're not on Stage 32 yet, or maybe you are, and you hear some tips that Rich is giving about using Stage 32 in a more effective way, make sure you head on over there, get on that account, make it happen, and get in the networking game. So I'm super excited we were able to get Rich on the show, and we'll get right to that. Give you a quick update on what's going on around here. I'm in the process of moving, and I got about a month before I actually move. And the biggest hurdle that I've encountered is I have no Wi-Fi, and that's become a bigger challenge than I thought it would be. So I'll give you an example. I record all of these interviews for the most part through either Skype or Google Hangout. So of course I need a Wi-Fi signal. And to make this interview happen with Rich, I wanted to say, hey, you know what, buddy, I can't do it right now. I don't have Wi-Fi at home. It's just not, it's not comfortable. But I decided I'm just going to pack up my gear and get in the car. And I set up my stuff in the car and drove to where I knew I could get a Wi-Fi signal from someone I trusted and made it happen. And it worked out great. We got a great interview. And I'm so glad I did that. I'm glad I didn't say no when that would have been the easy thing to do. I'm glad I pushed through that, and that's my encouragement to you is, whatever that thing is that you know that you need to do, but you just don't want to, and maybe you don't feel you really need to, just do it. You're going to feel good about it. And I promise that whatever it is, you're going to be glad that you did. And I'll include a picture of me in the car in the show notes, but, it's just because that was fun. It was different. And I love proving to myself that I can do something that I wasn't sure I could. So a quick plug for the social networks. If you want to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it's all under Filmmakers Focus. And if you don't mind, head on over to iTunes, leave a review. It's not vital, but it is appreciated. So with that, we'll jump into our conversation with Rich Botto.
And now our feature presentation.
Welcome to the show, Rich.
Great to be here, Doc. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet. I'm excited to have you on here. Just so everyone knows, you are the CEO of Stage 32, which if you're in indie filmmaking, you've come across that in some way or form. Where did you come up with that concept? Let's just start there.
It was kind of bred from a number of different things, a number of different situations. I think the big one, I had the idea probably back in 2009, and to give you an idea of how long it took me to convince myself to do this, we didn't really go into beta until 2011. I think the big one, for me as a creative, and just so everybody that's listening knows, I started as an actor in New York, and then I produced some films, one that went to Sundance in 11, and have a script that was purchased recently that's in development with Covert Films. So I'm a creative like everybody else that's on that site. And, the site was bred out of necessity or born out of necessity. I just was not getting what I wanted out of social media. And, this idea of being able to network online was something that was really appealing to me and something I felt would give me a competitive advantage in the space, being able to, sit behind my computer and use my time efficiently to network. I thought was, something that was would be a real benefit and give me a real competitive advantage, but I just wasn't getting it out of Facebook and LinkedIn and any of the broad-based social media sites. So I had this idea in 2009, and then in 2010, I was producing a film called Another Happy Day that went to Sundance in 2011, and we were on set in Michigan with a whole local crew. And I've told this story before, so those of you who have heard it, bear with me, and those who haven't, I'll make it quick. But It was this type of thing where everybody comes together as a family, and you're shooting for 30 days or so, and everybody loves each other. And I've said before, it's like summer camp when you're shooting an indie film, and everybody's going to be friends forever. We're going to stay together forever, and then you go your separate ways, and nobody really talks to one another. And what ended up happening was that when the tax incentives dried up in Michigan, all these people that worked on the crew and some of the local actors started contacting me here out in LA saying, we want to come out there now. What can you do for me? And I'm like, well, I'd be happy to speak as a champion for you, but it's a relationship business and it's a tribal business in a lot of ways for filmmakers out here in LA and in other areas where filmmaking is popular. And I said, you really need to be networking every day and you need to be out there every day. And what I was hearing from these people and from other people in the industry that I'm friends with was that they were having the same experience that I was having, which was that they weren't getting anything from Facebook or from LinkedIn or any of these broad-based social media sites. So that gave me the final push to say I really need to do this. And that brought me to building the first phase of it and launching that first phase in beta in probably, I would say, April or May of 2011.
What's the biggest benefit that you've seen others be able to come away with?
Yeah, there's quite a few. I mean, first and foremost, it's concentrated networking. You don't have to go out and search for people that you want to network with. Every single person on the site, and there are about over 500,000 now on the platform. Every one of them is a film creative. So whether you're looking for local cast or crew, you're able to search that way. If you're looking for a virtual writing group, you're able to put that together. If you're producing something across 3 states or a couple of countries, which has happened on the site very often, you're able to cast and crew up in those countries without having to travel. Initially, you're able to look at resumes and reels and headshots and scripts and log lines and all that. So that's one gigantic benefit. Obviously, within that, of course, is the fact that you can find jobs. And then, one of the biggest things, and this was something that that I wanted from the beginning and I'm extremely proud of now, and we've become sort of recognized as the world leaders of providing this is education. I wanted to be able to, there's so much crap online, there's so much misinformation and so many people who are unqualified to teach that are scamming people online. And it really pisses me off. As a creative, you want the best information. If you get bad information, it could certainly set your career back. It not only hurts you in the moment, it could hurt you going forward because you're going forward with bad information. So one of the things that I wanted from the beginning was to bring education in the site and onto the platform. And we did that in about 2013. And now we work with 500 industry executives worldwide to provide education on the platform. So that's something we're really proud of. And that's one of the big benefits that people write to me all the time about is just that, listen, if you live in LA and New York or London, it's easy to find an acting class or writing class. But if you live in other areas that are a little bit more remote and, you're not surrounded by like-minded creatives, it's not easy to find that education and the information that's going to give you what you need to get ahead. And to be able to provide that worldwide has been something that has been extremely rewarding for me and something that I hear from the community all the time as far as being grateful for the fact that we offer it.
Great. So for the person that hasn't even set up an account, they've never even heard of Stage 32. What would you do, you as the CEO, what would you do first?
Well, first, you're going to get my mug on your wall and my welcome message. So feel free to say hello to me because I respond to every post. And Awesome. I've been told by my tech team that I've made or commented on something like 400,000 posts on the site since we launched. So every single post that you see my face next to is me actually responding. So say hello to me. But then the first and utmost, most important thing, the utmost the priority one is to fill out your bio, to upload your media. If you're an actor, upload your headshots and your reels. If you're a filmmaker, your reels. If you're a screenwriter, your log lines and your screenplays, assuming you've had them protected by the WGA and the Library of Congress. Mm-hmm. You have to get onto the site and paint a full picture of who you are, where you've been, what you've accomplished, and what you're looking to accomplish. Let people know exactly who you are because it's a big mistake that people make on social media. In fact, it's the biggest mistake that people make on social media is they do not put that information out there. And then when people go to look at their profile, maybe they make a post that piques the interest of a producer or a director or some other, somebody else working in the business that may want to employ you or be in business with you in some way. And then they go to your profile and there's nothing there. And guess what? They're on to the next person.
Sure.
I mean, there's 500,000 people. So if it's not going to be you, it's going to be somebody else. So without question, if you're out there and you're looking to join, or if you are a member right now and you happen to be listening to this tremendous podcast, my suggestion to you, if you haven't done it, is to make sure that your profile is filled out, that your media is uploaded, and that everything is up to date and that you're constantly updating it. It is the single most important thing you can do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That's what I see too. And whether it's Stage 32 or anywhere else, that you're just not getting your info out. I don't know if that's lack of knowledge of what to do, but whatever it may be.
Well, there's a lot of reasons for it. Sometimes it's hubris. Sometimes it's hubris. Sometimes it's just a lack of understanding of the platform.
Sure.
Sometimes, people forget. There's a lot of reasons. But I mean, one of the other things I talk about all the time is, look, I'm not saying that Stage 32 needs to be your only platform. I mean, I'm on other platforms more as a CEO, more on the business side than I am on the creative side. But I always talk about the idea that if you're going to be on, like, let's say Twitter, which is fine for meeting people and for, microblogging and putting out bursts of information and communicating with people, that's great. But make sure your Stage 32 profile link is in your bio on Twitter. So you're closing, I call it closing the circle across your social media accounts. Make sure that you're able to lead people from one platform to another, because not every platform allows you to get all that biographical information and media in front of people. For example, on Twitter, obviously you have 140 characters for your bio, and you can't be uploading all your real. I mean, you can in your stream, but people aren't going to search that way. So, you got to lead them to some place. And in this instance, that would be your Stage 32 profile, where they could find that information easy, and, where they don't have to go searching. I quote this very often, or I a better word for it, I guess, is I, put this information out there as often as possible. It's been proven time and time again in study after study that if you make people click out of a site that they are already on to go find information. So, for example, if you make a post on Stage 32 and you say, here's the information on my profile, and they're able to go inside the site, or you put the same post up and you say, here's my reel on YouTube, 40 to 60% of the time, they will not click on that YouTube link because they don't want to leave the site. So 40 to 60% of the time, when you're sending somebody externally outside of a website, you're going to lose them. Okay. Just because people have short attention spans, that's part of it. Part of it is that people, value their time and they want to be efficient, and they want everything put in front of them, and they think that if they're interested in you, that information should be there and it should be easy for them to access. So, it's very, very important that you're closing the circle on social media and that you're not making it too difficult for people to find out where that information is.
I like that. So let's shift just a little bit and talk about your current projects here. What do you have in the hopper right now that has you fired up?
I have a few things that I'm fired up about. There's a couple of things that I'm interested in producing that I'm in the early stages of. I just produced a short that I'm pleased with, that's kind of in post, and a couple of other ones, features that I'm circling right now. As it always does, it comes down to whether the money is going to be able to come in, and we'll see how that works out. I've been offered a couple of acting gigs recently, which I'm happy about. I haven't done that in a while. I started as an actor, but the big one right now is earlier this year I sold the screenplay to Covert Media. Covert is funding the film. We have attached the director, and we are currently out to actors for the lead. And it's an exciting time. It's a hurry up and wait time, as it always is in this business. You kind of get this burst of momentum, and then you have to wait for actors to read and for their agents to do whatever the hell they do, which is usually delay things and all that. But it's really, really exciting. I mean, we're extremely hopeful that we're going to be shooting in Q1 of 2017. Yeah, I mean, that's the one that's really got me jazzed right now.
That's awesome. Well, before we say goodbye here, Rich, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, look, like I said, I'm a creative like everybody else listening to this program. Networking is so important. I just can't stress it enough. It really is. I treat it, people say to me like, wow, you have a manager for your screenwriting, and, you've been acting and you've been doing this, it must come easy for you. And I'm like, hell no, man. It is difficult. It is a struggle. It is the same struggle every day that it's always been. You're always fighting, scratching and clawing for the next thing. The reason why certain things have become a little bit easier for me is because I put in the time to network every day and every single day, and I treat it as a job. And when you treat it as a job, you do it. When you think to yourself that I have to punch the clock for an hour today and network, you find that hour. Just like, it's no different than when, they tell actors you got to find an hour to rehearse every day, or writers, you got to find an hour to write every day, and you go and you find it. You get up an hour earlier, or you skip binge watching House of Cards or something, and you find that hour. It's no different with networking. And the beauty of networking is that you can do it anywhere. You could do it on your phone. You could do it on your tablet. You could do it standing in line at Starbucks. You could do it on the throne. You could do whatever the hell you want to do it. But it needs to get done. And I swear to you, if you're listening in this audience and you're struggling as a creative, or you feel like you've hit sort of a lag, maybe, a dry spot, I promise you that if you go out there and you network every single day, you are going to give yourself a competitive advantage over about 50 to 60% of the people out there, because not only are they networking, but a lot of the ones that are networking aren't doing it right. So if you handle your business the right way, you have your media out there and your bio updated and everything like that, you really are giving yourself a competitive advantage. So get out there and do it.
I love that. Yeah. And I think you're a prime example of that too. You're not just talking this, you're actually doing it. Tell you why is because I didn't reach out to you. You reached out to me.
Yeah.
That you're showing that you are doing what you talk about.
Well, and it's my staff. I know someone on my staff reached out to you, and that's even a better example in a lot of ways, because it's not just me. It's everybody that works for this company believes in the mission. And with the exception of one person who's, more on the business side, and, one of my tech people, everybody that works for this company is a creative. Everybody is a creative. So they believe in the mission, they believe in what we're doing, and they all participate exactly in the way that I'm talking about right now. You can go into onto Stage 32, onto the platform, and look up anybody who works for this company, including the business-minded people and including the tech people, that the tech person I mentioned who's not in the business, and they're contributing as well. They're finding a way to contribute to the community by, sharing content or offering up stories of other members and their success, and, posting blogs and just being involved. And it's so important, and it matters so much. It is absolutely what you said. It's a practice what you preach mentality, and we all live by it.
For sure. Well, this has been awesome, Rich. I really appreciate you taking the time to make this happen. How can people get in touch with you outside of Stage 32?
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you having me on, Doc. This was great. You can reach me. I am on a couple of other platforms. Like I said, I am on, if it's a business-minded thing, of course, you can reach me on LinkedIn. But as a creative, obviously on Stage 32. And then on Twitter and Instagram, you can reach me at RB, which is my initials, RB Walks Into a Bar. RB Walks Into a Bar. Very simple. And I respond to everybody on those platforms as well. So feel free to reach out to me there.
That's awesome, Rich. Well, this has been great, and we will... What will we do? We'll just say goodbye.
I appreciate it, Doc. This was awesome, man. Great questions, great show. Love listening, and I appreciate you having me.
Boy, that was some great stuff with Rich there. You know what? If you're not on Stage 32 yet, you should be by now. By the end of this episode, you should be on there. So I really encourage you all, if you're not on there, get over there. Find me, find Rich, and of course, Rich, he'll connect with you automatically, but, find me, and we'll get some connecting going. I love networking with people. I love getting out and meeting folks. Quick example, today, there was a comedian in town that I wanted to see. He's actually performing about 30 miles from here. And I wanted to get some friends and go see him. Well, that wasn't happening. So I just contacted the comic straight up and asked him if he would like a ride to the gig. And he contacted me, and he's going to be here in a couple hours. So I just love connecting with people, and I love connecting with people that are like-minded, that are not like-minded. I love learning about people. So I just encourage you to get out there, do the networking part. I know it's not always comfortable, but it's definitely always worth it. So with that, we'll say goodbye. I look forward to hearing from you all this week. Have an awesome week. Talk to you again Monday. Go and grow.